I'm Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com, and this is my review and installation of the RedRock 4x4 rock crawler front grille guard fitting all 2007 and up JKs. Today we're going to talk through the installation of this grille guard, which is really more of a bumper, and it will install a lot like most other aftermarket front bumpers, so you can get this installed in about an hour. It's a very easy 1 out of 3 wrench install, but we'll talk more about that in just a second. We're also going to talk through the construction and a few of the features of this grille guard. This is for those of you who are looking to change up the factory front bumper on your JK for one that's going to give your Jeep a different style and also offer a little bit more protection as well as a couple of additional features. A bumper like this is what I consider to be sort of the modern version of the tubular bumper. The old school tubular bumpers just had 2 large tubes and they are a little bit dated. This is still a tubular bumper, but it has a more modern style. It has some additional features and it will still offer some protection. It even wraps around the corners of the front of the Jeep a little bit, so it'll definitely protect in the parking lot against those door dings, fender benders better than your plastic factory front bumper does. Now this bumper is going to be less expensive than most of the plate steel bumpers on the market that offer additional off-road ready features and even more protection, but if you like the style, you're not as interested in that heavy-duty protection of a big heavy plate steel bumper, you just want something that has this look to it and a few additional features, I think this is going to be a pretty well-built option. So as I said before, even though this is called a grille guard, it does replace the front bumper. It is not an add-on piece. This is made of 2-inch round tube steel. It does have a textured black powder coat finish over the top of it to help it resist rust and corrosion, and also to help it match other aftermarket parts, as well as those factory black plastic accents that are already on your Jeep right from the factory. Now I mentioned a couple times this isn't going to offer quite as much protection as a plate steel bumper or as many off-road features, but this does have a couple of off-road features. Right up front here you have 2 D-ring mounts, and they do get welded and bolt directly to the front of the frame rail, so you're going to have a nice secure recovery location if you do need to hook a tow strap or a snatch strap or the winch of a buddy onto this bumper and pull you out of a sticky situation. You can certainly use those D-ring mounts no problem. This also has a couple of different spots to mount auxiliary lighting. You have 2 light mount tabs up top and 2 on the corners here. Now the corner ones are really nice because even though this bumper ends up being about a full width bumper, this center section is really only as wide as the frame rail, so there isn't a lot of space in here for those factory front fog lights. So what you can do is have 2 lights mounted on these tabs shining through these holes right here, which if you get a fog beam, they can replace your factory fog lights, and then you still have the location up top here for 2 additional auxiliary lights that can be a little bit of a longer throw light for off-road use. Now what this bumper isn't going to have is a winch mount. Now even though this just mounts to the front of the frame rails, getting a winch mount, an additional winch mounting plate, and putting it on with this bumper, there's no guarantee that it's going to fit properly. Chances are you're going to have to do some modification to either the bumper or the winch mounting plate to get those 2 items to work together. So this does not come out of the box winch ready, and it will make it a little bit more difficult to get a winch plate mounted on your Jeep. Other than that, the only thing that this doesn't have that some of those plate steel off-road bumpers have would be some additional protection. As I said before, it's going to give you more protection than a plastic factory front bumper. It does extend all the way to the corners. However, it's not going to have the plate steel strength of some of those more off-road ready bumpers that are also going to be more expensive. Installing this bumper is going to be a very straightforward process. Again, 1 out of 3 wrenches and about an hour to get it bolted up. The first step is of course removing that factory front bumper on your JK, which can be done by removing the splash shield on the bottom of the bumper if you're still running one, then removing the fog light sockets from their housings, unclipping the fog light wiring harness, and finally removing the 8 nuts that hold that factory bumper in place. Once that bumper is removed, you can decide if you want to leave your frame cover, the small piece of plastic on top of the frame, in place or not. With a bumper of this style, you can run that piece. You may have to do a little bit of trimming depending on exactly how things line up, or you can just get rid of it completely. From there, it's really just a matter of lifting your new bumper in place over top of the frame rails and using the included hardware to bolt through the bumper, through the frame rail horns, and tighten everything together. Again, very easy install. Traditional hand tools can be used to get this installed in about an hour in your driveway. From a value versus cost perspective, I think that you do get a pretty good deal with this bumper. If you like this style, if you're not after more protection or more of those off-road features, this is a really well-built piece. It's going to give you that look that you're after. It has a couple of features that I do like as far as the light mounts and the D-ring mounts, and it's only a little over $200. Again, I think it's going to be a pretty good price for the additional protection that you get over a plastic factory bumper and the additional features. So if you like this style, which in my opinion is a modern take on the more classic tubular bumper, you're not after a plate steel bumper with a ton of off-road features and a ton of protection, then this is going to be a nice hybrid that will definitely change up the look of the front of your Jeep, and it all comes in at what I think is a pretty fair price. So that's my review of the RedRock 4x4 rock crawler front grille guard fitting all 2007 and up JKs that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.